My name is Krish O'Mara Vignarajah, and I am President and CEO of Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, the largest faith-based national nonprofit dedicated to immigrants and refugees. I'm so grateful to Christine Hine and Pastor Hank for the invitation to speak to you today. I was thrilled to hear that the Christ the King congregation decided to lift up immigration this Advent, particularly as Jesus himself was a refugee. I understand that many of you are new to LIRS and our work, so allow me to take a few minutes to introduce the organization. As I mentioned, LIRS is the largest faith-based national nonprofit dedicated to immigrants and refugees. We're also one of the oldest, just celebrating our 80th anniversary last year, but I'm told I hide our age well. We began our work of welcome back in 1939, when LIRS was founded during the Second World War to assist the resettlement of Lutherans persecuted by the Nazi regime. But that mission quickly expanded. When Fidel Castro took power in Cuba, LIRS resettled some of the hundreds of thousands arriving during the Cuban refugee airlift. After the fall of Saigon, when America welcomed a flood of Vietnamese refugees, LIRS transformed from a four-person operation to a fully staffed employee response organization, all in less than a year. In the 1990s, we helped restore a sense of hope to those displaced by war, conflict, and ethnic cleansing in the Balkans. In the 2000s, we began welcoming the lost boys and girls, young Sudanese refugees who had been separated from their families after fleeing civil war. Over the past decade, we have continued this legacy of compassion by welcoming refugees from Syria, Afghanistan, Burma, Tibet, Thailand, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ukraine, and beyond. One of our most important areas of expansion has been the assistance of asylum seekers at our southern border. Throughout the years, our work has consistently evolved to meet the needs of those seeking asylum and has included detention visitation, medical and other services for those recently released from ICE detention, reuniting families, and providing shelter for unaccompanied children. In fact, after the family separation crisis in 2018, LIRS was one of only 2 organizations asked to help reunite children with their parents and extended family. Today, we provide a wide array of services to refugees and immigrants, resettlement and integration services, emergency response, such as our Neighbors in Need Fund for immigrants affected by the coronavirus pandemic, economic empowerment, workforce development, legislative advocacy, and foster care services for unaccompanied children. Our life-saving work in support of our work with outreach is part of our organization. It gives us the opportunity to educate people about immigration and refugee resettlement and engage communities like yours in transforming the call to welcome the stranger into meaningful action. As I'm sure you know, the past 4 years have been an extraordinarily difficult time for refugees and immigrants. Hundreds of policy changes made in the last 4 years have all but decimated the asylum system as we know it, removing avenues to legal immigration, endangering the lives of hundreds of thousands of children and families fleeing violence and persecution. Our annual resettlement number has plummeted from a historic average of 95,000 refugees to just over 11,000 last year. The election has lifted our spirits. We believe that the United States' status as a beacon of hope for the persecuted will be restored. But we can't do it without the support of communities like yours. I want to close by sharing my own immigrant story. My parents left Sri Lanka as it was entering civil war. They, like many minority Tamils, were desperate to protect our family. As their desperation grew, my parents sought refuge wherever they could find it. Nigeria was the only country that would take us in. We had suitcases packed and plane tickets in hand when miraculously, and it truly felt like a miracle, our U.S. application was approved. My parents brought me to this country when I was just 9 months old. They came with no jobs, just $200 in their pockets, and 2 very young kids in their arms. We arrived as strangers on foreign soil, first in the Bronx until we were welcomed by the community in our new hometown of Baltimore. It was then that the meaning of Matthew 25 hit home. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. Neighbors treated us as friends and eventually family. The superintendent of the Baltimore City Public Schools, where my dad got our job, found us our basement apartment. The vice principal of my dad's school helped us move in and vouched for my parents so they could open a bank account. That warm welcome gave my parents the opportunity to plant roots, to become educators, and opened a path for me to speak to you today. I am so grateful for the opportunities the United States extended to my family and for the opening arms of welcoming communities like yours. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today, and may God bless you.